Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this is my premiere episode for a new series that I've been wanting to do, where I'm pretty much going to sit down and show you the highlights of the best, the worst, the weirdest, the strangest, the most hilarious, the best deals, the worst deals, the everything in between, some of the worst condition games you will possibly ever see on the internet, and some of the coolest listings that you might see on eBay. For example, this right here, this was the first time. I've seen a lot of people list with interesting backgrounds on eBay, but this was the first time I've ever seen somebody use the hood of their car to take their photo for their listing. And as one of my viewers pointed out, I thought this was a pretty funny comment. If this is a reseller, they apparently didn't even leave the yard of the house that they bought these games from before listing it on eBay. I try to make my eBay streams as fun and interactive as possible, because obviously if you're doing this week by week, it could get stale, so I try and spice it up. And one of the things that I let my viewers do is challenge me to a segment I call The Price is Right, where they pick a game and I have to try and guess what this, the average market price is for that game as close as I can. And I was challenged to guess the price of Resident Evil 2 on the N64, cart only. But just as we were about to get to that, I noticed something so weird and strange. You guys know that grading companies now are moving into the video game space. You've heard of WADA, you've heard of CGC, you've heard of VGA, but have you heard of Esports Grading? Like, what the heck is this? I'm not the biggest fan of grading games. I understand why people do it, but when it comes to grading games, I think the space is getting a little crowded, and I've never seen esports grading before. First of all, what does esports grading even have to do with games? Or grading games, rather. Like, aren't esports? What does this have to do with grading games? So, real quick, before we get into searching for more esports grading, because that was requested, I did have to guess the price of Resident Evil 2 on N64. So, do you know what the average price is? Let's see if you know. Before we jump into it, just think about it for a second. I'll give you a moment. So we decided to look a bit more into esports grading and see what kind of stuff they're grading, and I think this auction here about sums it up. Somebody sent in a really terrible condition, not even sealed, copy of Lynx Adventure on the Game Boy that doesn't even have its manual. They graded it a 45 out of 100, so I think this pretty much tells you the average mindset of the kind of people that are sending stuff in to get graded by whatever the heck esports grading is. I found this pretty amusing. Alright, now that you've had a bit of time to think about that Resident Evil 2 cart-only price for N64, my guess was about $30 to $35. So, what did you guess? Well, here's actually what it's selling for right now, which it seems like about $35-ish is about right. We had to wade through a lot of fake carts, which are the ones that you see that are $10 free shipping, but if you guessed anywhere in the realm of $30 to $40-ish, you're pretty spot on. I also just wanted to take a moment to appreciate one of the craziest video game covers I think I've ever seen, which is for Sim Life on the PC. My personal favorite animal combo they've got on this box, the giraffe ostriches. Man, this box is just so wild. I've seen a lot of really odd-looking vintage Mario merchandise over the years, but I don't think I've ever seen this one before. I just wanted to highlight it because I really appreciated the fact how the seller actually has a before and after photo of what the balloon looks like after 5 hours of being inflated because of a slow leak. You gotta admire the attention to detail and the thought to do something like that, but I thought it was a pretty cool auction to show. On the flip side of that, though, I do like highlighting really awesome merchandise, and this is also the first time I've ever seen this Mario telephone, landline phone, where he's going into a pipe in the original box. How cool is this? I was scrolling through a block of listings for Super Famicom games, and I always stop to admire the covers that just look so awesome compared to the US boxes. Look at this one for Batman Returns. This may be one of the best Super Nintendo boxes that we never got in the US. Japan always gets the goods, and this is a prime example of that. Just look at how awesome this artwork is. You're going to pay a premium for it, though. Some of these Super Famicom games are just ridiculously priced these days. One of my most popular segments for my eBay streams are when I do my affiliate review, which is essentially where people in my community use my eBay affiliate link, and the things they purchase show up there, and we check out what kind of deals people are getting, or maybe even sometimes not so great deals, or just interesting items that they pick up. And I noticed that somebody bought a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog on Genesis, and I was hoping for them that it was a retail version, meaning the one without the not for resale. And sure enough, somebody in my community nabbed a copy of this for only $20, which is a great price. Normally this can go anywhere between 50 and 100, depending on the day and the moon phase and all that kind of stuff. So it was really cool to see somebody get a copy of this for $20. We checked out a lot of other really super interesting stuff on the affiliate links. And by the way, if you want your stuff to show up potentially in a future video for this series or on my streams, you can use my US affiliate link. It's in the description below in this video. And if you need any other links for if you're outside the US, you can find those on the About section in my Twitch page. It's pretty simple. It just redirects you to ebay.com, and anything you buy within that link will usually track. It's a little bit finicky, and I do really appreciate any support that you guys give through that. And it's always fun to see your stuff appear on my streams and see what I think about it and all the other people in my chat as well. And just to highlight one more pickup from my community that I thought was a really, really good deal is this PSP Import shoot 'em up lot, one of the games being the Superstar Soldier collection, which I thought was just an amazing steal for $150 for all of this. Another fun little segment that I let viewers request is for me to grade a listing. And what I mean by this is they give me a link and I give it a number rating out of 10 based on the title, the description, and how good their photos are. I actually don't take into account the condition of the item, which as you can see here is probably one of the worst condition games you're ever going to see. It's just super water damaged, growing mold. But at the end of the day, I gave them a pretty good rating on this. I think I gave them an 8.5 because they said that it's water damaged in the title. They showed adequate photos to try and show you the disc condition, which is not easy to do in photos when you're kind of showing different angles and trying to show the scratches. So even though this is an absolutely disgusting copy of NBA Ballers, which by the way, you might be like, wait a minute, why is this $250? So apparently it's a super, super rare Platinum Hits game for the original Xbox. Very hard to get this complete in box, and the seller was kind of trying to sell it as a disc-only copy, but at this point, I think you're just scaring buyers away. Who's going to buy the disc of a game that was stored in a case like that? Just toss the case, sell the disc, do yourselves a favor. I think you'll get a faster sale that way. But I guess you can also say that they're being honest. They want you to know that that disc may smell like mold. By the way, if you've made it this far into the video so far, thanks so much for sticking around and watching. Hope you're enjoying it. And if you are enjoying it, please be sure to leave the video a like. You don't got to worry about leaving a comment or anything like that. I understand not everybody wants to leave a comment, but these days, I never used to have to ask for likes, but man, the YouTube algorithm these days, it's make or break. So liking a video, making sure that you watch, a decent chunk of the video as well, it really helps support the videos that I make and make sure that they reach a wider audience, because a lot of people are unaware sometimes that I even upload stuff because some of the stuff struggles to get in people's recommended boxes. So thanks so much for those of you that leave a like. Let's get back to some eBay game hunting. So the way my eBay hunting streams work is I personally don't buy anything. Anytime I find something that's really cool or a good deal, I post the link in chat for my viewers to pick up. And while it is a lot harder these days to find deals that are worth linking, once in a while I find a little gem that just gets buried on eBay that everybody forgets about. And one of those is this Lunar 2 E3 2000 pre-release promo flyer. So this is different from what you might think it is. It's not an advertisement out of a magazine that somebody cuts out and tries to sell. These are pamphlets that they would hand out at E3. You're passing by, you're checking out the games there, you're part of the press, they'll hand you this flyer. And somebody was selling 2 of them for only $22 free shipping. One of them had already sold. I linked this in chat and it sold almost instantly. So hey, a lot of people think that the really good deals on eBay need to be bought within like the first couple minutes of listing, but once in a while, if you do enough digging, you find really cool stuff like this. Towards the end of the stream, one of my viewers requested that we do a search for E3 2000, meaning we look for promotional merchandise from E3s, which is where that lunar flyer was from. And we went down a huge rabbit hole here. We were there for probably at least an hour. It was super fun, and we came across some crazy oddities, the first of which being this Infograms little binder from E3 2000, where it had a couple of interesting little artifacts in there, where it showed the Tasmania game that was supposed to come out in the US but never did. It did release in other regions though, but we never got it here, but it was in this pamphlet. And then they showed the alternate cover and name for what would eventually end up becoming Sheep Raider on the PlayStation 1 as well. Thought that was pretty neat. And then I came across a book from Midway from the same E3, and inside I found a game that I don't think I've ever seen before, and it was a platformer that was supposed to release on the PlayStation 1 called Deuce. And it looks super neat. Obviously, this game never came out, but checking out the screenshots, and we also took a brief glimpse at the gameplay, it looked pretty darn good. It's apparently playable on the internet. Somebody like dumped the ROM for a demo that's floating around out there. So if you're looking to try this game out, apparently you can try it. Next up was this Rockstar book, which I found out for the first time that they were apparently going to release an Austin Powers car combat game on the Dreamcast. Crazy stuff. Next up was a book from E3 1999, because I had decided that we were going to go through a lot of the past years and not just do 2000. And this one had a cool little snippet with some screenshots and a little article about Eternal Darkness, but when it was actually supposed to release on the N64. The next unreleased game we found was in this Eidos 1998 E3 brochure that showed us a PS1 game called Vermin. Look at the crazy character designs in this, man. It really looks like we missed out on an absolute crazy gem for the PS1. Here's a crazy one for you. How about a brochure for Titus? But inside they advertised Superman 64 with an alternate cover, by the way. And the screenshots they used apparently do not reflect what the final game was, according to some people in my chat. So imagine trying to make this game look good. But I have to say, they did a pretty decent job. It would have been pretty convincing looking at this flyer. Alright, now I only want you to focus on the pictures coming up here, and I want you to look at the black shirt. Don't look at the title, just look at the black shirt. And I want you to tell me what game that shirt is from. If you guessed Final Fantasy VII Remake, you would somehow be right. I don't know what they were thinking in the design of this shirt, but that has to be one of the ugliest combinations of fonts and font types that I think I've ever seen. And what the heck that has to do with Final Fantasy VII? I guess it's because it's supposed to look like a postcard or something. I don't know. But if you have this shirt from E3 2019, you've apparently got a pretty rare and expensive shirt, regardless of the terrible design. And for the Final Fantasy fans out there that don't have enough shirts for their collection, if you ever wanted a shirt of Cloud in front of a McDonald's, well, they make that too. Obviously not official, but this was just too silly not to show. So here's an insanely rare and expensive find. This is the Twilight Princess preview trailer that is on a Nintendo DS cart that were handed out during E3 2005. I actually remember when people first started listing these on eBay on the year that this was, handed out to the public. And these were going for hundreds of dollars at the time. And I checked, just the cart are selling for about $1,500. So this person here has the original little pamphlet book that it came in. Obviously, probably not going to sell for $17,000. But man, it's just crazy to think that a DS cart can sell for $1,500 with just a trailer for a game on it. But you got to hand it to Nintendo. That was some genius marketing at the time. Here's a fun one that'll probably make some of you nostalgic for the old days of video game journalism, but here is a 6 DVD set from GameSpot with I think it advertised something like 100, 150 hours or something, even more than that, of coverage from their trip to E3 that year. And it has game trailers, it has the press conferences, it has, raw gameplay footage from on the show floor. It's got all kinds of stuff, but I thought this was kind of cool. We later found out that they used to do these every year. Just kind of a cool thing. It has all the old GameSpot staff. Of course, they've all broken off and gone to other outlets these days. So this was just kind of a cool little remnant. Somebody actually did end up picking this up with my link in chat because it was only 20 bucks, I think, with shipping or something, $18, something like that. Pretty cheap. Cool little find. Well, there you go, guys. That is going to conclude the first sort of eBay highlights video until I decide on the official name for this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This eBay stream, I'm not even going to lie to you, this is a pretty tame eBay stream. Every week we tend to always find different kinds of stuff. So if you thought these listings were interesting and fun to look at, boy, have you seen nothing yet. And if the reception to this is good enough and we get a ton of likes, ton of views, whatever, if this video kind of takes off for my channel, I will have no problem going back into older streams and cutting up highlights because I have just hundreds of eBay streams. Not all of them are archived, but I can go through tons and tons of my past eBay streams over the years and kind of go back and cut up some of the highlights from those, and it'll be really fun to go back and see some of the old stuff we used to find. Just absolute madness out there that we used to come across during my eBay stream. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like. It really helps support the channel and the video. Comment as well, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.